It can be heartbreaking to find an animal in distress. A lot of rescuers also have to face a number of issues, but they all know that their hard work will pay off in the end. Rescue groups such as Hope for Paws are created to save strays and help with their rehabilitation. When they got a call about a shepherd mix, they went over ASAP. Get ready, because this is going to be an emotional roller coaster. Hope for Paws got that call one rainy morning. It was about a stray that seemed to be a German shepherd mix. It was by itself and hiding under a car, avoiding humans as much as it could. Eldad Hagar and Loretta Frankenite were the two members who went to the scene after grabbing a cheeseburger. Eldad is the founder of the organization Hope for Paws, which goes on missions and rescues animals in need around the area. This poor dog had been using a huge van to stay away from humans. She was clearly terrified and unwilling to come out of there. Loretta stepped closer to show the dog that she had some food. They wanted to help this scared dog, but needed to make sure the dog wouldn't become violent. Loretta didn't want to scare this poor pup, so she approached very slowly and cautiously to try and make sure the dog won't run away from her. It was scared, there was no doubt about it. It seemed homeless and terrified of humans. As Loretta came closer to this huge but very scared dog, it started to cry as a person would. Never heard something like it. In the organization's video on YouTube, they say, "At first we thought she was hurt, but she cried because she was so scared." Before we continue, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and click the notification bell for more amazing stories. The name of the video is Homeless German Shepherd Cries Like a Human. I have never heard anything like this. That is proof enough of the unique cry. While the dog didn't want to eat the cheeseburger at first, a little while later, she started to cry a little less. Eventually, she accepted some cheeseburger and began to calm down slightly, despite still crying a little bit. All the same, Loretta was still worried. She needed to be very careful and put her safety ahead of trying to save the pup, even though she wanted to help this animal more than anything. She had to be patient and brave in order to approach a scared animal like this one, especially because this dog was quite large in size as well. Many organizations that deal with animals use a tool to make capturing the animal at hand easier. This tool has a long rope and a hole at the end, meant to go around the dog's head. There are often times when dogs attack humans when they get too close. Most of the time, it's just because they are terrified, and this is the only way they know how to react in order to protect themselves from what they see to be a threat to them. However, Loretta had a cheeseburger with her. The food serves as a type of bait to lure the dog in. Just as a fisherman uses bait to attract fish, was Loretta's master plan going to work? Let's find out. Not interested in her cheeseburger. Usually, an animal's desire and need for food trumps their fear. It was strange that the scared dog only backed down and headed under the car, even with the presence of the cheeseburger. Scared and wary. This dog must have been so scared and wary of humans that she put her hunger aside. If we were her, we would have grabbed the offering in no time at all. Loretta was also pretty shocked at the dog's refusal. Much longer than they expected. The rescue mission would have been much easier had the dog been a little more trusting. However, Eldad and Loretta wanted to win her over. It was out of the question to take her out of there by force. Loretta tried to place a lasso around her neck, but let her go after seeing her reaction. It was very apparent that this dog was absolutely terrified of everything that was happening at the moment. Loretta didn't want to make the dog even more scared than she already was. After Loretta let the dog out of the lasso, she ran away, so Loretta had to try a new tactic. They really had to tap into their brain power to make this rescue mission a success. This German Shepherd mix must have thought she would be the safest between the two buildings behind the parked vehicle. But Eldad acted quickly and brought a net to surround the containers. Eventually, the dog would have to come out, and when she did, Eldad and Loretta would be waiting to take the dog to safety. The question was, how long would it take? They both cleared their schedules for the rest of the day. They wanted to make sure they had the necessary time for this poor dog. One exit was guarded by him, and the other one was secured by his partner Loretta. There for the long run. He filmed the entire mission on his phone as they talked to the scared dog. The two of them were determined to help this dog, no matter how long it would take. She continued to whine and cry. It was devastating for them to hear the pooch cry like that. This poor dog whined some more, but eventually, she finally started to listen to Loretta, who coaxed the dog into coming with them instead. Getting calm, they gave her ample time to calm down. By then, she already looked less scared. What a relief. She had her big ears down as if to show Loretta that she was truly terrified of what was happening. Once she was calmer, Loretta was able to get the gentle snare around the dog's neck. Even though she was still very jittery, Loretta was relieved that she was able to finally get the dog. Now all they had to do was get her to the vet safely. Gently and slowly, the two began to coax out the dog, trying not to frighten her even more than she was. She was moving, but slowly. Eldad and Loretta were very patient and gave her plenty of time to move at her own pace. Animals can be very fragile at times, especially when they go through trauma. They wanted to reassure her as best they could, so they continued to give her words of encouragement and patiently waited. They decided to call this adorable dog Rain, since they found her all by herself on that rainy morning. She still kept her tail tucked between her legs the entire time, but at least they were making progress. Her tail was still tucked underneath her, and she couldn't stop crying and quivering. They finally got her out from between the cabins, but it was still clear that this pup was truly terrified. The dog accepted his gentle strokes and finally seemed to agree to go to the cage. Eldad slowly added another gentle leash for their own safety and then petted her on the top of her head to let her know she was safe. Even though they were taking their time, Rain still seemed very scared and unsettled. Every so often, when Loretta and Eldad were sure she'd calm down, Rain would yelp in fright and try to scurry away while crying louder and louder. Eventually, Rain allowed Eldad to gently pet her. This was huge progress, seeing as she wouldn't come near either of them at first. Even though she was still very cautious and apprehensive, Rain allowed the rescuers to lead her to their car. Slowly making their way to the car, Rain was cooperating, but only just. Her body language indicated she was very uneasy still. She kept getting very jumpy and yelping, thinking that the rescuers were going to hurt her. At last, they were able to make their way to the cage. They would transport Rain in. They needed to get her to the vet to make sure she wasn't injured in any way. Not to mention, she desperately needed a bath. The person who called the rescuers is none other than one Carrie Linnell. She was there by the cage and holding it open. Upon seeing her, Rain did not go into the cage and just go on all fours before sliding under Carrie's arms. It seemed as if Rain had already known Carrie and trusted her, allowing her to pet her. She even went up to her willingly, as if she knew that Carrie was the one to call for help in the first place. It looked like she was trying to express her gratitude to Carrie. This was a beautiful sight for all of them to see. Help however they could. Loretta and Eldad didn't lose hope the entire mission. They wanted to help her in any way they could. Kari felt the same way. She must have wanted reassurance that it would all be okay. After this, She left everyone awestruck by going inside the cage of her own free will. They could not believe the remarkable progress this dog was making so quickly. Surprisingly, Rain went into the cage willingly and easily. She looked more comfortable inside, as if she felt safer in the small space. Who knows what made her go inside, but she seemed to be calming down a bit. She began sniffing around the crate and looking around at all of the rescuers, or seeing Carrie. But whatever it was, Loretta and Eldad were happy to see Rain improving. Once she was inside the cage, Rain was the calmest the rescuers had seen her yet. She stopped crying and settled down. Loretta couldn't believe what a major difference she had seen in Rain already by then. Rain was even smiling a little and wagging her tail slightly. It was as if she was beginning to understand that she was getting help and going to be better. Loretta and Eldad, what on earth had been done to her in the past to make her so fearful of humans? She was a lot calmer in the cage. Rain must have known that being inside meant she was safe from harm. Once the cage was moved carefully into the car, Rain seemed so curious. She kept looking all around her, investigating her surroundings. Inside the cage, Rain finally got to enjoy the burger and even wagged her tail a fair bit. She was now safe and ready to go to the vet. She would get some TLC, spend the day at a doggy spa, and get plenty of cuddles from Loretta. After some grooming and tests, Rain was now ready for a new chapter of her life. Just like any other dog in the world, Rain deserved a chance to live in a loving home with a family who would take care of her and keep her safe. She must have realized that these humans meant no harm. She had been a terrified pooch earlier that day, but it was like she transformed into a whole new dog after the bath and cuddles. It was obviously Rain's first spa treatment, and she was absolutely loving it. She let the suds run down her nose, and she welcomed the warm water and gentle hands of her masseuse. She would look like a whole new dog once finished. They had quite the opposite intentions, actually. They could tell that this dog was once a pet. Although she did not have a chip on her, this meant that the dog once knew what it was like to be with a family. It was easy to see that she was readjusting to what it was like when there was someone to care for her. After all, they doubted that she would have been this happy and trusting only hours after meeting Loretta and Eldad. Once she was bathed and all cleaned up, Rain just wanted to cuddle up with Loretta and relax. Suddenly, she was acting like a completely different dog. In the mere hours that she's been at the vet, Rain had turned into a sweet and cuddly pup. It was only a matter of hours for Rain to begin adjusting, relaxing. She became a totally different dog, and all it took was a cheeseburger and a nice medical bath at the vet. Loretta was amazed at how sweet Rain became as soon as she knew she wasn't in danger. The best is yet to come for her, however. 2 weeks later, someone asked about her. Was this finally Rain's much-deserved opportunity to join into a loving home with people who would keep her healthy and safe? She now hopped all over the place just like a deer. Days passed, and everyone was impressed by just how different Rain seemed to be from the pup they saw crying at the parking lot. She would shake paws with everyone that gave her belly rubs and scratched her behind the ears. She was one of the happiest pups these people had ever seen in their whole lives. 2 weeks later, she got rescued. When they got to the paws facility, Allison was smitten with Rain. 2 weeks after they rescued Rain, Loretta accompanied another animal rescuer by the name of Allison Dunbar to go to a different stray in need of help. After all, if someone rescues dogs for a living, they obviously love them a lot. Rain going home with an animal rescuer meant that she would for sure feel all the love in the world that she needed, and that she would always be in a safe and warm household. She brought her dog in to meet Rain, and couldn't have been happier with what happened next. Allison already owned another dog at home, so of course, before she committed to taking Rain home, she had to make sure she'd get along well with the dog she already has. Allison knew right away that this was the best decision she'd ever made, and that Rain would have a perfect life with her. Allison didn't treat this new addition to her home any differently than she would treat Ernie, which helped Rain acclimate to the home immediately. Allison was the one who gave Rain her forever home. On top of that, she had a furry companion in the form of Ernie. The Dunbars also made the decision to change her name to reflect her personality. They knew Rain to be a sunny and bright dog with an awesome personality. They gave her the nicknames Assy Pants Dunbar. It was a name that fit her perfectly. What a great name they picked out. In her new home, Sassy Pants was excited to explore her new home. She couldn't help but run around, sniffing everything around her. Allison couldn't be happier to give Sassy Pants a forever home. On her Instagram, she wrote, "Introducing Sassy Pants Dunbar, rescued off the streets of South Central by Hope for Paws Rescue." They called her Rain B/C. They found her crying in the rain. Heartbreaking backstory for this senior girl. But I'm gonna make it all up to her. Sassy Pants changed Allison's life, but more importantly, Allison changed the entire course of Sassy Pants' life. Just a few weeks prior, Sassy Pants was too scared to even approach a human. And now she was living with a human who loved her very much, and Ernie. Sassy Pants fit right into her new family. She learned a lot from her big brother, Ernie, and loved spending as much time with him as she could. Almost the exact opposite of how she was when she was found, Sassy Pants was as energetic as anything. The dog is now internet famous since the story went viral. How sweet. She is also a lot happier now that she lives with Ernie. She looks up to this old chap and likes to nuzzle against his fur the entire day. On top of being one of the best cuddlers Allison had ever seen, Sassy Pants was also such a silly dog all the time. Every day, Sassy Pants did something that made Allison laugh, including all of the times she found Sassy Pants sitting in the shower. Even just rolling around on the carpet made her so happy. Allison couldn't get over how silly Sassy Pants was once she was comfortable in her new home. She was now one sassy little dog after getting some love and trust. Aw. When they look back at the instance when they found her, this German Shepherd mix had been scared of everything around her. One thing Sassy Pants became known for is shaking people's hands. Most of the time, this tactic worked flawlessly. She loved getting as many pets as she could, and in order to get some more, she would shake people's hands to persuade them. She was very liberal with kisses and cuddles. No one seemed to mind this in the least. Another thing that changed a lot about Sassy Pants is the amount of love she gave everyone who walked through the door. She wrote, "Happy International Dog Day from Ernest and Sassy Pants." When International Dog Day came around, Allison Dunbar took to her Instagram to post this adorable snap of her and the dogs while spending some time on the beach. Allison uploaded this adorable picture to her Instagram, captioning it with, "Sassy and Ernie are serious about Halloween." Now that Halloween is just around the corner, Sassy and Ernie are prepared with their costumes and are ready to begin celebrating. Allison and Ernie took in Sassy with open arms, ready to have her join their little family. She hid the first week we brought her home. Gushing on her Instagram, Allison wrote, "Sassy Pants was a severely abused senior when we adopted her 3 months ago. But now, she knows that life can be fun and there are good people everywhere. In fact, it looked like anyone who would meet her adored her. I brought these jokers on a bank errand today, and Sassy even walked up to a stranger for pats. The dog walking in pet sitting company welcomed the pups with open arms, saying a big welcome to Ernie the Noodle and Sassy Pants, our two new Wigglebots. Seeing as she had a lot of work to do, Allison did the responsible thing and signed Ernie and Sassy up for a dog walking program so they get enough exercise every day. If you see a dog walking on the streets or a dog alone that looks scared, always try to call for help. Sassy Pants isn't the only dog who spends most of their life living in constant fear on the street with nobody to love them. You could save the course of this dog's life, just like Hope for Paws saved Rain's life. You should always keep in mind that you can help change someone else for the better. It can be a dog or a person. All you need to do, such a thing, is to show them love, trust, and help. This, what happened to Rain or Sassy Pants Dunbar. She was initially full of fear and sadness, but her true personality shone when she met kind humans. Hope for Paws is a non-profit animal rescue group that was started and is currently based in Los Angeles, California. Hope for Paws was founded by Eldad and Audrey Hagar in 2008. Hope for Paws rescues animals facing death or danger through abuse or abandonment. Just like they rescued Rain, they rescue helpless animals each day, binding bonds through beautiful tales. Thank you for watching.